In these cases, the book is always better than the movie. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 books that should never have been made into movies.
In thy precious and alliterative name.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're looking at books that either shouldn't be told on screen at all, or stories where film wasn't the best medium to adapt it to.
Now I've heard there was a secret chord that David played, and it pleased the Lord.
Number 10. Confessions of a Shopaholic and Shopaholic Takes Manhattan by Sophie Kinsella.
Jacket, Visa. Dress, Amex. Belt, MasterCard. It's vintage, and I got 1% cash back.
We all love a good rom-com, but if the wit and cleverness of the writing can't be executed in the script, then what's the point of making it into a movie? That's the question we were all asking ourselves after sitting through the 2009 Isla Fisher film version of Confessions of a Shopaholic.
Do you see what I mean?
No, I do. I keep talking.
The movie was just a little too silly and doesn't convey how smart the first two books of the Shopaholic series could be when it came to discussing consumerism, all while still being hilarious. The movie just felt dumbed down, and because of that, it's best to just read Sophie Kinsella's books.
You have nothing left.
I mean, I wouldn't put it like that.
Number 9. The Da Vinci Code by Dan Brown.
I'm not sure how much help I'm going to be here this evening.
As a novel, The Da Vinci Code was a massive success among readers, since it made the search for the Holy Grail into a gripping thriller. The movie tried to capture the spark of the novel, but somewhere along the way it fell flat. Despite consistently incredible actors Tom Hanks and Ian McKellen at the center of the story.
This is the original icon for male. It's a rudimentary phallus.
Quite to the point.
Yes, indeed.
The book gave complex, sometimes dark motivations to some of its characters that the movie left out, and the storytelling felt too simplistic yet scattered, losing all the fun of mystery solving that the book held.
How much of it have you been able to figure out?
Some. Not enough for it to make sense.
It won't ever make sense.
Number 8. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. In a book like this sci-fi classic, most of the fun of the reading experience comes from Douglas Adams' tangents and one-offs that explore passages from the titular book within a book. This is exactly why the story does not lend itself to the successful movie adaptation. The 2005 version tried to capture the quirk of the book, but in reality, many things from the story were left out for more streamlined storytelling. While the screenwriters tried to keep some of the magic of Adams' original dialogue, it felt pretty clunky and confusing for viewers who weren't familiar with the source material.
Oh, I see where you become confused now. You see, we were experimenting on them.
No. Well, yeah, no. I gather that's what they wanted you to think, but you were actually elements in their computer program.
If the movie can't add anything to the story, it's best to simply leave it on the page.
Does, anything you want to change? Something you think your planet could do without?
Number 7. Beloved by Toni Morrison. A truly unique book, Beloved is part slave story, part ghost story, and way too psychological to be captured on screen.
Good God, girl. What kind of evil you got in there?
It ain't evil. Just sad. Come on. Step on through.
It tells the story of Sefta, a runaway slave who's haunted by a ghost and meets a reincarnated version of the daughter she killed in order to save her from a life of slavery.
Tell me you diamonds.
Morrison's book explores her psychology while playing with the reader's expectation of how the story will unfold. The 1998 Oprah adaptation just felt like it was telling the story's plot without really showing how harrowing the events of the book were for the main character. Audiences could see through this, and it was a box office bomb. Number 6. The Lovely Bones by Alice Sebold. While there's nothing inherently too complex about the story's plot, the movie version of The Lovely Bones just felt off.
Like if you start something, you finish it. You don't stop until you get it right. If you don't get it right, you start over again, and you keep on going as long as you have to.
The book tells the story of Susie Salmon, a young girl who's murdered, and watches her family deal with her death and discover who her killer was while she's stuck in the in-between. Even with strong performances from Saoirse Ronan and Stanley Tucci, the movie jumped back and forth between being too dark and overly sentimental as Susie's family figures out what happened to her. And while the depiction of the in-between felt powerful in the book, it looked kinda silly in the movie.
This place is not really one place, and also is not the other place. It's bits of both.
Number 5. Watchmen by Alan Moore. Is it too pretentious to say that the story of Watchmen is too complex to be made into a movie? Regardless, it's true. While most superhero movies have a more simple story with a clear good guy and bad guy dynamic, this graphic novel features more ambiguous characters and a satirical take on the whole superhero genre.
At least I'm not the one still hiding behind a mask.
No. You're hiding in plain sight.
While the movie tried to cram all that into its story, it really seemed to focus on style over substance, which made it lose the depth of the original plot. Creator Alan Moore feels the same, and famously said that he had no intention of seeing the film.
I should thank you. I'd almost forgotten the excitement of not knowing.
Number 4. Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell.
While my extensive experience as an editor has led me to a disdain for flashbacks and flash-forwards and all such tricksy gimmicks, I believe that if you, dear reader, can extend your patience for just a moment, you will find there is a method to this tale of madness.
Author David Mitchell is an experimental writer known for breaking conventions in his compelling stories. This is exactly what he did with Cloud Atlas, a book of 6 interconnected stories that span a length of time and deal with deeper themes like reincarnation. It's a beautiful story, but one that makes little sense on screen.
Your version of the truth is all that matters.
The movie felt nonsensical with a hard-to-follow plot. It was jarring to jump from setting to setting, past to present. The Wachowskis co-directed the film with Tom Tykwer, and while it looked great and had an absolutely stacked ensemble cast including Tom Hanks, Halle Berry, and Jim Broadbent, it's a story better suited for a book. Number 3. The Dark Tower series by Stephen King. How do you take a series of 8 books and condense them into a 95-minute movie? The correct answer is you don't.
Hate.
But that's pretty much what the 2017 movie attempted to accomplish. Talks of adapting the books have been in the works for years, and directors J.J. Abrams and Ron Howard tried to take a stab at it before it eventually went to the lesser-known Nikolai Arcel. It seems like the studio would have gotten the hint that maybe there's too much story for a movie.
I hope you don't mind me making myself at home. Where I come from, we don't have chicken.
Who the hell are you?
But they didn't. And instead, fans of the books were given something completely different from the source material, while people new to the series could not understand the story. Also, it was a waste of Idris Elba and Matthew McConaughey's talents.
The war is over and we lost.
Number 2. Eat, Pray, Love. One Woman's Search for Everything Across Italy, India, and Indonesia by Elizabeth Gilbert. While memoirs can sometimes make for interesting on-screen stories, most of the time they're too anecdotal and don't really have much of a linear story. This is perfectly fine for a book, but the exact opposite of what you want in a film.
My support for you? No, there's like nothing. I have no pulse.
They tried to give the 2010 Julia Roberts version a compelling narrative, but honestly, it was just boring to watch a woman eat food and pray, no matter how good of an actor Roberts is.
Oh my God, kill me.
The strength of Elizabeth Gilbert's story is how internal her journey was, and how connected readers felt to her on the page. That connection was missing, and made for a movie that didn't amount to much.
Do not tell me what lessons I have and haven't learned in the last year. No, tell me how balanced and wise you are and how I can express myself.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are some honorable mentions.
Sure you want to do this? Of course I'm not. Let's go. Good luck.
Who told you these stories?
Everybody knows them.
And how do you know they're true?
Of course they're true. You'd make up stories as horrible as that.
This will never make it to trial.
No, I think we could probably take this all the way to trial, but with our luck, the jury pool will be 99% hippie.
Number 1. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Despite multiple valiant attempts, The true magic of this classic novel has never been fully captured on screen. Particularly in the 1974 and 2013 adaptations of the book, the symbolism and themes of loneliness never seem to be adequately explored in the movies.
Do you always watch for the longest day in the year and then miss it? I do.
Instead, both versions, particularly the Baz Luhrmann picture, get caught up in the excesses of the glamour of the world without thoroughly exploring the darker underside.
I'm afraid I haven't been a very good host, old sport. You see, I'm Gatsby.
In other words, both versions have no heart. And if heavyweight actors like Robert Redford, Mia Farrow, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Carey Mulligan can't bring out the characters' nuances, it's safe to say no one can.
Haven't you heard? Rich girls don't marry poor boys.
Leave this one to required reading in high school English. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.